Alright, Brendan Forster at TopVelocity.net. We're going to do a pitch analysis here, Kevin, and we're going to pair him up with a Sao, or a Japanese pitcher. Picked him just because you have some similar characteristics or some similar mechanics that thought you could, learn from him, because he's moving very similar to you through all these components. So hopefully this helps. All right, so we'll take you into a leg lift. Take the Sao into his leg lift. So as you can see, very similar. Kevin, you got you're very dynamic. Initially, you come up, and I can see you're really aggressive coming out of your lift leg. Everything looks good. It looks like you're going to lead really hard into your load position. You can see with a Sao here, he is in not as doesn't have as much momentum shifted as forward as you. So you're definitely looking pretty good here. So let's see how you sync up through the rest of the delivery. So let's take him into the load. So we'll see. He likes to go into that front leg extension to keep the lift leg pulling back, keep the knees together as he's leading forward and lining up the force vector. So that lift leg then starts to break out as his center of gravity starts to get, down as low as he's capable of holding it, and the force vector gets really nice and linear, which is what we want. So let's take you there. You do the same thing. You like to try to keep that leg, or try to extend that leg to hold it back. You just open up. You're a little bit more open than him, as you can see. When he goes into extension, he's got his knees a little bit closer together. That'd be the only difference here. But everything looks very similar. So that's why I kind of paired you guys up. You get a little bit more of a lead with your hips. You get a little more, your hips are pushed out a little bit farther, which can be good. It just really depends. Some guys can pick up a lot of speed and, hit a good load position with a more, say, shoulders or more vertical torso position. You're a little bit more tilted, which is fine. So, let's just see how it works. If you're able to really hit a good load position and then build a lot of power through through triple extension, that's all that really matters at this point. So everything looks good. So when your lift leg starts to break your front leg, you can see a Sao's just a little bit lower than you. He's got a little bit lower center of gravity. His force vector is a little bit more linear, and it's just talking inches here. So we'll see. There's your force vector. Let's see if we can get his accurately. Here's his force vector. Not much difference, but a little bit. Just because we can see he's a little bit lower to the ground. You're just a little bit higher to the ground. So, but like I said, inches. Everything looks good at this point. You're still closed, and you're getting linear. So you can see he really has an explosive leg drive, triple extension. That ankle kicks out hard into front foot. When he lands stable, his hips are open, and he gets a lot of hip rotation, front foot strike. This is really what makes him exceptional, because we can still see the shoulders closed. We can even see the glove side shoulder, and those hips couldn't be any more open than they are with that full triple extension before front foot strike. Also look at that. Look at the stride length here, specifically in his front leg. That knee is way behind his heel. So good position to really keep the front leg stable and even move into some front leg extension into pitch release. So let's see what your triple extension looks like. So you continue to take your knee down as you open up, and you just don't have the leg drive that he has. So I really think that would be the key for you. So definitely the 3X approach would ultimately benefit you. And you're saying you're a 90s guy. I really think that would be a big key to get you to break over 90, maybe get closer to mid 90s, would be a little bit more dynamic leg drive. So you can see, we'll just take you both frame by frame. So here's you both in your load position. Now look, even though he's in slow-mo, so frames are going to be a little different here. So you can see knee extension, and then that foot just really fires out, and you see full extension just before he puts down. So he lands here, and we see that full extension. That dirt's on top of the foot, so he's fully extended. Hips flexors push through as well, and out of the hole. I mean, that's really exceptional. And that's what we're trying to achieve through the 3X program. We're trying to implement this kind of explosive triple extension before front foot strike, so we can create that hip rotation. So as you land and settle, those hips slam completely open. So we'll take you can see how your knee comes down as your foot opens, and then it keeps coming down as your foot continues to open. So it's really more a collapsing and a rotating than a drive. You can see, look at his foot. His foot here is still closed to about this point right there. Front foot still closed. The ankle kick has happening at the exact same time. So he's moved even into knee extension before the front foot's open. Notice you here, your front foot is open before you've even extended your knee. So you're opening too early, and you're not creating or initiating. You want to initiate your hip rotation with your front foot, but the power of the hip rotation's got to come from the drive leg. So if you're going to initiate hip rotation with the front foot by opening it right here, we have to follow it up and drive through with the back leg. If not, then we're just going to open the front foot like this, and we're just going to collapse and interline rotate the drive leg. So it's not going to be as dynamic. And you see when you land, you're still slightly in the hole. You definitely haven't hit full extension like Sal is here, and you definitely don't have the hip rotation that he has. So you land here and settle, and your hips are almost open, but right there is really where they come through. And you can see your leg finally gets out, and that's when it comes through. So look, your drive leg here to your front leg is in the same position as the Japanese pitcher's in, but look at the difference in hip shoulder separation. So he's still completely closed or just slightly open. You're already into external rotation, very little hip to shoulder separation. So I mean, you have hip to shoulder separation, but it's very minimal compared to what we're looking at here. The average major league pitcher is 40 to 60 degrees of separation. You look, maybe 15 to 20 degrees of separation. So you could ultimately double that, and it would have a tremendous effect on your velocity. You look like a very strong, explosive, powerful guy. I definitely see that you work hard there, but it's just implementing, putting more of the power in different parts of the body, specifically in that ankle kick, to finish off that triple extension. You could take some of the power and strength and speed that you have in your body and put it into some more important areas, and just really focus there. It would have a tremendous effect on your mechanics and really transferring your stride power into torque and into the ball. I mean, that's really what we have to do. We're just, like I said, Asao is a 95 plus guy, and he's your size but skinnier, just because he's building a lot more power through the drive leg, and he's converting it to a lot of torque. You have some decent power in your drive leg, definitely not as much as him, but definitely not converting it. So it also gives you an idea that maybe your power, your lower half power, isn't really that significant, because you do have good front foot strike. You don't have a lot of lead knee flexion. You have, there's a little bit there, but not a lot. You just don't have a lot of drive coming out of the back leg there, which is going to push that back hip open and create some more hip rotation and front foot strike. And that's really the key there. I mean, I really see with you, that's really would get you to your velocity goals. Just getting a little bit more, a lot more dynamic out of the drive leg and enhancing that hip shoulder separation. But because from there on out, ultimately too, if you would kick through harder here, your front leg would push out a little bit farther. You might have your knee to heel a little bit farther away than what the Japanese pitcher has here. So you look at his knee to heel. Look at your knee to heel. I mean, that's important too, because that's a measurement of stride length, and it's also going to make it easier for you to finish out of your front leg allow you to get more forward trunk tilt, external rotation, and make it easier for you to get front leg extension, which does pop a little bit of that last bit of ground forces into the ball, as you can see here. So watch, the Sal goes into external rotation, and then he gets to extension at external rotation, and definitely into pitch release he gets into hyperextension. You can see you get into external rotation, not as great at external rotation just because you didn't have the hip shoulder separation, and then you release still with that bent front leg. So you can see how you're still kind of in a low velocity category, you know, but not, you know, you got some decent forward trunk tilt, you got some, you know, almost early internal rotation, and but you could use the front leg extension. So it's like, I can see you might be a upper 80s guy, you know, around 90, but for you to ultimately break through, you're just really going to have to tighten up here and get more explosive through your stride and enhance that hip shoulder separation. And then we're going to finish more out here where Asao is, specifically with that front leg. If we can get that into more extension, or, you know, even if you took the Brandon Mauro approach where you might not have the front leg extension, but you do have the really explosive triple extension. So right now it's like you got average to below average triple extension, average to below average front leg extension, or what we call 2x extension. And I really believe that's your key. You really need to get more out of your lower half if you're going to break through. So I hope this helps, and you know, if ultimately if you really need something to get you there, it's going to be the 3x Speech and Logic program, because these components that we're talking about and going over, we just constantly are working to perfect and refine and define in the 3x velocity system and the throwing program. And also we build that power, and we're building that power every day in the strength and conditioning program. So you'd be a great candidate for it. So I hope this helps, and I appreciate you sending your video.